This is how you take your power back. For good. Have you ever looked in the mirror and seen a stranger staring back? Not because your face has changed, but because your self-worth has slowly been stripped away piece by piece, by people who used your kindness, by moments that humiliated you, by days you gave everything and got nothing in return. Let's be honest. You're tired. Tired of pretending you're okay. Tired of acting like you're confident, when inside you feel like you don't matter anymore. You speak less. You stand smaller. You start to question if you ever had value at all, or if it was all just an illusion. You used to believe you were someone. Now you wonder if you've become invisible. You give, you serve, you try to be better. And yet somehow, you end up the one who's overlooked, underestimated, and left behind. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe life just kept pushing you down without mercy. Maybe you've been told you're not enough so many times, you started believing it. But let me tell you something they won't. You are not broken. You are not weak. And this silence you're living in, it's not the end. It's the beginning of your return. Your return to the self that never truly left, just buried, quiet, waiting. Waiting for you to stop chasing validation. Waiting for you to stop explaining yourself to people who never deserved to hear your voice in the first place. You don't need another compliment. You don't need another person to love you to feel like you matter. What you need is to remember who you are, to rebuild your self-respect from the inside out, with discipline, with clarity, with real, practical tools. No fluff, no false hope. There is a science to strength, a psychology to self-worth, and once you know how it works, you won't need to beg for respect ever again. Let's begin. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. You were trained to forget yourself. Not taught. Trained. Trained to prioritize others. Trained to seek approval. Trained to ignore your own needs just to keep the peace. Since childhood, you were rewarded for being quiet, for not making waves, for being agreeable, polite, and humble. You learned that self-respect wasn't something you built. It was something others handed you when they felt like it. You gave up your boundaries, not because you wanted to, but because you were conditioned to believe they were selfish. You said yes when you meant no. You stayed when you should have left. You tolerated disrespect, thinking it was loyalty. And each time, a piece of your worth eroded. Not all at once. Slowly. Silently. No one warned you that the real damage isn't done by enemies. It's done by the quiet moments when you betray yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Here's the real reason why your self-worth feels empty. Because you outsourced it. You gave it away, inch by inch, to people who never had the wisdom to protect it. You thought if you were good enough, they'd love you. If you worked hard enough, they'd respect you. If you were patient enough, they'd finally see your value. They didn't, and they won't. Because people don't respect what you sacrifice. They respect what you protect. You want the world to validate you, but the world only mirrors back what you already believe about yourself. If you walk around like you're replaceable, you will be replaced. If you talk like your voice doesn't matter, it won't. If you behave like your time is worthless, they'll treat it that way. This is not about blame. This is about responsibility. Because until you own the fact that you trained people how to treat you, you will never escape this cycle. That person who always interrupts you, you trained them to. That boss who piles work on you while praising someone else, you trained them to. That friend who only shows up when they need something, you trained them to. And how? By staying. By staying silent. By staying small. Let's make one thing brutally clear. You are not in this position because you're unworthy. You're here because you forgot to defend your worth like your life depended on it. Because it does. They told you being nice would get you somewhere. But being nice without boundaries is just self-betrayal in disguise. They told you humility is a virtue, but humility without strength is invisibility. You became invisible to others, because you became invisible to yourself first. This is the real reason you feel hollow. You've been playing the role of the reliable one, the peacemaker, the helper, and you forgot you were a human being with a spine, with standards, with fire. But here's the part they can't take from you. The moment you decide to wake up, to reclaim the worth you've buried under years of silence and shame, no one can stop you. Not your past, not your mistakes, not their opinions, because your self-worth was never truly lost. It was just waiting for you to stop apologizing and start remembering. Remember this: you don't rise by being liked. You rise by being true. You don't earn respect by suffering in silence. You earn it by drawing the line no one thought you could. And you don't rebuild your worth by waiting for someone to choose you. You rebuild it by choosing yourself over and over until it becomes non-negotiable. You want to rise? Then stop waiting for motivation. Start building structure. You don't need another emotional high. You need discipline. You need habits that reinforce your worth, whether you feel like it or not. Because self-worth isn't a feeling, it's a system. And that system begins with how you treat yourself when no one's watching. Let's begin with the most underestimated weapon in your arsenal: gratitude. Not the soft, fluffy kind. Not the "I'm thankful for sunshine and puppies" kind. Real gratitude. Strategic gratitude. The kind that forces your brain to stop fixating on what's missing and start anchoring to what's strong. Here's what you do. Every morning, before the world touches you, you write down 3 things you're grateful for. But here's the twist. At least one of those must be about you. Not your house, not your friends. You. I'm grateful I didn't give up yesterday. I'm grateful I stayed silent instead of reacting. I'm grateful I'm still standing, even after everything. Why? Because the world taught you to see what's wrong with you. This rewires you to see what's right. And that shift? That's where self-respect starts. Next, document your power. Once a day, write down one win. It doesn't have to be big. You didn't snap at someone. You drank water instead of numbing out. You finished something you started. Every time you write it down, you're sending a message to your nervous system. I am capable. And the body follows what the mind repeats. Then comes the hardest practice. Acts of strength disguised as kindness. Do something kind for someone without telling them. Open a door. Send a silent blessing. Help anonymously. Not because you want to be a good person, because it reminds you, you have something to give. Kindness without audience is the purest kind of power. It shows you that you are not a victim of circumstance. You are a contributor, a source, a creator. This is how self-worth is rebuilt, not through applause, through action. But understand this, none of it works unless you add the 4th rule, radical boundaries. Don't meditate in the morning if you still answer calls from people who drain your soul. Don't practice gratitude if you still let guilt control your decisions. Cut them off. If not completely, then emotionally. Create sacred space in your day where no one gets access to you but you. Even if it's just 10 minutes. Even if it means saying no when your voice shakes. Even if it makes people uncomfortable. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. You've spent your whole life being available to everyone but yourself. That ends now. So here's your plan. 1. Morning gratitude with at least one line about your strength. 2. Daily win log, even if it's microscopic. 3. Silent act of kindness to remind you of your power. 4. One hard boundary per day to train your system that you matter. These are not self-help tricks. They are psychological warfare against the version of you that settled. Repeat them long enough and something strange happens. You stop chasing worth. You start embodying it. And the people who once overlooked you, they'll feel the shift. Not because you said anything, but because presence speaks louder than words. From this moment forward, you don't explain yourself. You don't justify your silence. You don't apologize for raising your standards. You don't feel guilty for walking away from people who didn't think twice about wounding you. You don't need their permission. You don't need their understanding. You don't even need their respect, because yours is enough. You are not the same. Not after this. You've seen too much. You've tolerated too much. You've bent until your spine nearly snapped. And now you rise, not loudly, not desperately, but with the quiet certainty of someone who finally remembers who they are. This world has no mercy for the person who waits to be chosen. It devours the ones who stay silent in hope of kindness. But you've chosen yourself, not out of pride, out of necessity, out of survival, out of power. You don't beg for respect now. You generate it through how you walk, how you speak, how you protect your energy like it's the last sacred thing on earth. You've returned to yourself, to that version of you who was never broken, only buried. And now that you've seen your own strength again, you will never unsee it. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them drift away. You're not here to be liked. You're here to live aligned. And from this day forward, your presence will demand respect without ever asking for it. If this message found you in the middle of your silence, then write this in the comments loud and clear. I choose myself, without apology, without fear. Not for likes, not for attention, but as a declaration to your own mind that you're done shrinking. Share this video with someone who's forgotten how powerful they are. Someone who's been too quiet for too long. Someone who's ready to take their worth back, piece by piece, or all at once. This isn't motivation. This is memory. And now, you remember who you are.